everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited today. We have Nadia Hatta here from the new Hallmark movie, A Winning Team. And thank you so much, Nadia, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Hallmarkies, for having me here on this podcast. It's very
Yeah,
exciting.
we're excited to have you part of the Hallmark family. And we're excited about the new movie. And so, what we like to do with new guests is give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into acting.
Oh wow,
I know, tough one.
that's a loaded question. Well, I wanted to be an actress since I was a kid, you know. So when I was young, I basically played pretend a lot, and I would take my family's camcorders, and then I would just make my whole family be in my movie. And I just loved it. I loved to pretend, and it made me feel safe. I would redo all the commercials and all the television shows that I was watching at that time, and I never thought it could be a real career because I
Hmm.
always thought that it was somehow removed from me, like
Yeah.
they're inside the television set and they're in a different reality. Until I grew up older, and then when I was a teenager, I was I went to an audition for this music television show, which I had no idea, but I saw it in the newspaper. Anyway, I went and I ended up getting a call back. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what that means. And I was underage, so they needed approval from my
Sure.
family, which, I didn't think so much about. But my mom was not happy about the fact that I went on a secret audition. So she asked me about it, and her friend convinced her that if I could go and to a callback, and if I get it, I should just do it. And she was like, no, college is the way. So my callback was actually in the studio of Stars TV, which is a big music television channel in Asia.
Hmm.
And I ended up, meeting. That was the first time I was like in this green screen room with a camera and all these things, and I had to look at the camera and talk. And I was like, I think you got the wrong girl. They're like, no, we love you. Like, please just be yourself and do it. Anyway, so that was my very soft starting point, but I still had to go to college and learn business and learn other things.
Hmm.
Then I got nabbed by one of my humanities teacher who said, you know what? I think you should be an actor. I don't know
Hmm.
how he saw that because I was probably daydreaming and looking into the blue skies while he was talking. So he
Yeah.
was like, let's go for something fun to do. And I was like, really? He's like, I have a play. And there's a couple of roles and you're gonna play all three.
Yeah. See, he was probably looking. He was on the looks for those ambitious, creative types in his classes. He's like, I need to cast my
Ambitious
play.
eyes looking at the blue skies and clouds, being like, la 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 la.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after I did that play, it was in Italian,
Uh-huh.
and I was done. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is what you're meant to do," and that's when I decided this has to be my career. And
Hmm.
so I jumped on the wagon starting
Yeah.
that point. Yeah.
So did your parents have any idea that you were going to be pursuing acting or they were interested in it or just kind of that's
Oh my
funny.
gosh. So they were super against that audition. I did
Uh,
when I was a kid, but nobody took it seriously. They knew I loved to pretend,
uh-huh.
and I like to write little plays as well and put it on its feed and make everyone watch it. So when I did theater, I started off in theater in New York. Actually, I did it secretly, so my family didn't know. I was like, I'm gonna learn economy. See, I can't even say the word. Like I can't even say class right. Economy and marketing and all that stuff. But I was
Uh-huh.
failing hard. That my teachers like took me out for a beer, and he was like, "Listen, you're failing bad." And I was like, "I know, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best." He's like, "No, you're not. You're not even looking at the
No,
class."
you're not.
And then I said, "Well, I just don't think it's hard for me to absorb this material." And he was like, "I don't think this is right for you. I don't think you should be doing this if you don't really want to do it." And he's like, "What's your real passion?" He's like, "What are you up doing every day?" I was like, "Well, I'm in these plays and I got into them, I auditioned for them, and it's really fun." And he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna pass you. But I'm not gonna give you an A because you don't really deserve an A, but I'm gonna pass you. And I want you to go and pursue your dreams, okay? And stop taking these classes that you obviously are not interested in." So he passed me.
Yeah.
And then I went off and I started doing loads of theater in New York City.
I love that teacher. That's right. The
I didn't
college
learn
path
much.
is not for everyone. That's for sure.
No, no, oh my gosh, that economics book was thick.
I hated economics so much.
So
I
much.
the tests were so hard because there were these multiple choice and there were like 10 options in the multiple choice. And so I was like, I don't know, it stressed me
Oh,
out. And I was really trying hard, but I kept doing terrible on the test, like 30%, like so bad.
I hear
And
you.
yeah, and I went up to the teacher, and this professor was like kind of legendary. He taught these huge classes, and he'd been there forever. And I was like, I'm gonna fail the class, so I think I'm just gonna drop out of this class because I'm doing so
Oh
bad.
my God.
He told me, he said, if you come to every lecture and every TA session, I promise you'll pass the class. And I got a C minus.
You got a C
I
minus and
did.
you came back?
Yeah, so that was passing for my school at least. And
C
so,
minus is good enough for economics. I think it's
yeah,
great.
I took it and ran with it.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I also got a C minus.
Yeah.
But I can't believe you actually went back to the classes. Good for you.
Oh, it was tough, but I just all I had to do was good enough that it could check it off and account for graduation. I didn't care about
And did
just
you and did you ever use it again in life?
there's been a few times when like concepts of like macro versus micro, I've used that a few times and thinking about analyzing things and stuff, but that's about it. I think
Right?
yeah,
Right? I was
yeah.
like, I mean, all the times that I watch all these movies and commercials and television, I feel like I've used that more in my life.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. I mean, I nobody loved college more than I did, aside from an occasional class I didn't care for. But the overall experience I loved. But as far as like it really preparing me for my work life, which has evolved and changed a lot over the years, it really didn't do much aside from like basic writing, reading, analytical thinking, and that's all valuable. But as far as like there's the career track, go on it, get the job. That just did not happen to me at all.
Oh my God, ditto, 100%. Oh my God. I was like,
I,
what is this conventional one path, one way for
yeah.
everyone? No
Yeah, and
way.
I have an MBA as well, and I mean that was fun. I enjoyed getting it, but I don't know if that's really helped me that much either.
Wow, you are one patient gal. Like, I don't think I sat through that. I was like, oh.
It's crazy though because I graduated with my MBA in 2008, so it's been a long time since I've been at school. This feels like another lifetime ago.
Wow,
Yeah.
for you.
But anyway, I'm glad that you had that teacher who was willing to give you that
Yeah.
like willing to go against his own profession and really tell you what you needed to
Yeah.
hear. Like that's
Oh my
cool.
God. He is super cool. And like
Yeah.
he said to me, he's like, listen, I think you're very smart and very talented. I don't think you're one of those kids that is just lazy. I
Yeah.
just think that this isn't right for you.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind the scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
And he's like, you know, you go out there. He's like, you speak all these languages. I think you should go out there and pursue your dreams. I
Yeah.
totally support you. And then
That's
lucky,
so cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to ask you about it. So you speak four languages. Like, how did that happen?
Well, I grew up bilingually because my dad speaks English and my mom speaks Mandarin. And so I had
Hmm.
to like, you know, speak both in order to converse with both of them. But also I had to learn Arabic at a very young age.
Oh, is there five languages? Because it
Yes,
said on IMDb French, Italian, Mandarin, and English.
Yes, because my Arabic is pretty shady right now. It was once upon a time at the age of 7, like somewhere dumped in the back of my brain that if I used some time, I could pull it out into some
That's
use. But
amazing. Well,
yeah.
and I saw that there was the Italian, and Hallmark loves making movies about Italy.
Oh my
So
God.
you really got to get on that bandwagon.
Okay, let's holler that real quick.
Yes.
Next movie in Italy. Woo! I should be speaking
Yeah.
Italian. I was like
Yes.
fluent there. I
Yeah.
lived in Italy for like 9 months in Firenze, Florence.
Mhm.
And that's where the humanities guy, the teacher, was the one who said, "Hey, do your
Yeah.
acting," And I did it in Italian. So my first official play was in Italiano.
Yeah, that's
Our
amazing.
next movie should definitely be in Italian.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be so
It would be
amazing.
really fun.
I'll be
We
just
got
like,
it. Samantha DePippo, if you're listening, we need to make this happen.
I think I see a script coming
Yeah,
into my right
we kind
now.
of joke that, yeah, you're only allowed to fall in love in Italy. Italy or Ireland. That's it.
Oh, really? Why Ireland?
Occasionally New York City.
Okay.
There's just so many movies set in Hallmark in Italy and Ireland, and then New York City.
Oh my gosh.
But or like an Italian restaurant. Sometimes it's that.
I would love to fall in love in Italy. That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
So did you grow up in Canada? Were you
I was born in Taipei, and
okay.
then I grew up there a little bit, and then we all emigrated to Canada, and we became Canadian. So that's where we have to learn French, right?
Right.
Like it was like a mandatory in class. You have to learn a second language. And then I sort of dropped the ball on Mandarin because when you're a kid, you kind of, do whatever other people do, and you're hip, right?
Right.
But
You don't want to be like your parents.
no, you don't want to be like your parents. Opposite.
Yeah.
But then,
That's cool.
yes, it's really cool. But you know what? I'm really glad that we moved back to Taipei to continue. My mom felt that I was losing my culture. And so when I moved back to Taipei, I had to learn Chinese again. And even though it wasn't amazing because, I had like a hiatus, I booked a television show there where it's a little bit like Hannah Montana. It's called E for Kids. And we had like 365 episodes. And I remember I did a lot of voiceover work as, to make money and to kind of get into the industry. But I got discovered by this recording producer. And he was like, "Hey, there's a show. They're looking for a female star. And like, I think you're perfect for it." And then I was like, "Okay." And then so I went and I met the executive producer. And I said, "I just want you to know, I don't know how to read Mandarin. So if this show has like Mandarin scripts, I probably can't read it." And he was like, "Yeah, don't worry. It's all in English." So I was like, "Cool, cool, cool." So he sends me the contract like, a month later or whatever. This was really early on. It was like a Hannah Montana. So you sing, you dance, you act, me and this other co-star, we basically like led the entire thing. They created the whole show around our personalities, and it was fun. It was hilarious. It was educational. But guess what? The script was 95% in Mandarin.
Like, what? We had a deal.
Yes, I got on the set. It was like a 3-camera show, 3 cameras, and there were 30 people, behind the cameras. And then they're like, "Sorry, because we just started, so we didn't get to give you the script beforehand, but here it is, you're going to do great." They hand me 8 episodes on the first day of the show. And I'm like, "It's in Mandarin." And I was like, "You guys, I literally said, I don't read Mandarin." And I literally was not being humble, but that was real.
Yeah.
And then like, "No, don't worry. You just do your best." I was like, "What does the best mean? I can't read it."
So did you just have to memorize it like
Yes.
phonetically, basically?
And look at the characters and phonetically, and I wrote it phonetically. And after 300 was actually 366 episodes, after 366 episode of reading like in Mandarin and having to memorize, I ended up learning how to read Mandarin.
Yeah.
And that is like has become super invaluable for me.
I guess that's like out of the frying pan into the fire.
Oh my God. You know how many times I cried when I went home? I was just like, this is so hard. This is so hard. And then I was just like, I don't know what happened, but why is this happening to me?
Well, yeah, because how can you even act if you don't even know what the words are, the words
Totally.
are meaning?
Oh my God, the beginning episodes were horrible. Like I remember just I was like saying like everybody like a robot. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember the word. It was so- oh.
But you hung out there. That I mean, that's 366 episodes, so that's many years, right?
Yes, that was multiple years,
Yeah, a
and
lot.
it was a lot. And then they ended up, writing around my character. I ended up getting real good, real fast. And I really think that's the best way to learn a language. I honestly think that's how Mandarin came in, and now I'm completely fluent just because
Hmm.
I was put to the fire.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? If I can do that, I literally can do anything,
yeah,
right? Like you put me in a country and I'll learn it.
yeah. Well, and especially when you're younger like that, you just learn things more quickly.
Survival.
At least that's what I keep telling myself. But but yeah, so then you were over there in Taiwan and so then when did you end up going back to Canada?
I went back when I was, much later,
Mhm.
I came back and forth to sort of take classes. So I took a lot of, acting
Mhm.
classes anyway. I would finish my television shows there, and then I would always come back to like my career trajectory just sort of took off in Taiwan, and then it sort of led me around Asia. So
Mhm.
after I learned Mandarin, I ended up booking another television show that needed me to be bilingual to write and read. And
Mhm.
because I learned that asset, it opened the door for me to do it naturally. And then I had to
Mhm.
learn another skill set on top of on that show. So like every television show I had, I learned a different skill set that became useful to build upon to the next thing. But then my dream was always to be an actor, in North America. So I knew that in order for me to do that, I had to keep on working on my chops.
Yeah.
So I would come and
S-
take classes.
So were you in Canada for the lockdowns and the pandemic and everything?
Yes, I was. So I did my television show away. And after I filmed it, I went back to Beijing, which is where I was living at that time. And then I came back again. And I was like, the moment I arrived back, it was like an official lockdown. And it was the last flight that left Beijing. And now
Oh
the
wow.
was locked down. And I was like, huh? And I had like two suitcases full of clothes. I didn't have anything else. I had thought that I would have time to ship things or bring things. And so I ended up being in the lockdown by myself for like
Oh
years.
wow.
It was
Did you
crazy.
have like an apartment that ready for
Yes,
you in place? Okay, that's good.
I had a place to stay. And so, because I had already planned to live here,
Hmm.
I just didn't realize I wouldn't get to leave.
Yeah, that would
I was,
be intense. I also live by myself, so I can at least relate to that part of it is being alone during the lockdowns. It was, I mean, thinking aside the podcast, but uh, I don't know how I would have gotten through it without it because it was. I thought, because I work from home, so I thought it was going to be, kind of easy for me, but it really wasn't. It was hard.
oh my gosh. So I totally agree with you. So I'm very introverted. I like spending
Hmm.
a lot of time alone. So I try to spend as much time alone in silence as possible. But it was a lot of alone.
Yeah, it was a lot of alone. That's a good way to describe it.
I was overdosed. I was like, oh my God, I remember
Yeah.
going to Casey's, which is our grocery store here for like local foods that is fresh. It's kind of like,
Uh-huh.
but like
Yeah.
our, and I would go there and chat with the manager of Choices. That was how sad. And I just like pulled each other through.
Yeah. My sad moment was the that 2020 the Easter holiday. I wasn't able to see my parents because there were some fear. Did I have COVID? Did I not? I didn't have it, but they worried I have it, so I don't want to get my parents sick, obviously. And so I was like, well, what do I have to make some kind of Easter meal, right? I'm looking in my cupboard and I had a can of Spam, which is like kind of hammy-ish, kind of Eastery. So I like I was I had like had potatoes and spam, and I'm like, this is so sad all by myself. That was the low point in the pandemic for me.
By
So
myself.
yeah, it was hard.
I hear you, girl.
Yeah.
I hear you. Many of those moments. Self-pity party.
Like spam. Yeah. So somehow we made it all through. Oof,
Gosh,
it
woo.
was it was crazy. But yeah, that would be hard, especially if you didn't have like any friends, or I mean, you were just new in a whole new country. I mean, you lived there before, but still,
An
that'd be
adult,
that'd be
like,
hard.
yeah, it was really hard. And I just like kept thinking, and then everybody, had their family, their parents, so they
Yeah.
get exposed to people just in case, right? But I hear you. Yeah, the spam moment, I totally I empathize. I've had
Yeah.
plenty of those. Maybe not spam per se, but
We all had that. We all had our metaphorical spam moments. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
Who doesn't love a second chance? New this March from best-selling author Melody Carlson is Second Time Around,
a sweet story that Publisher Weekly calls perfect for fans of clean romance.
When empty nester Mallory Farrell inherits a rundown tourist shop, she never expects to rediscover her love for the funky coastal Oregon town or her now widowed teenage crush.
With his help, she may just be able to renovate the shabby shop and her lackluster love life.
Buy Second Time Around today at bakerbookhouse.com to get 30% off and free U.S. shipping.
That's bakerbookhouse.com. Well, so yeah, so you filmed the Away series before the pandemic.
yeah, right before.
Yeah. And that was with Hilary Swank.
Yes.
So what was that like to be a part of a production like that?
Oh my gosh, that was a dream come true. That was
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. When they gave me a call and I was, I was in Beijing, I was like, I had auditioned for the role already, and then they asked me to audition again and do it in Mandarin as well. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. But I just moved and I couldn't believe it, and it was my dream to cross over. So I just didn't know in what form,
Yeah.
right? And in what bridge. And when this gift fell on my lap, I had no idea. Like I had no idea what this was.
Yeah.
Of arriving and oh my gosh, it was a huge production, super professional. Everybody was so kind. They gave me so much space to do my work. There was no rush. And I mean, I worked in Asia, okay, which means there is no regulated hours. So it's not cushy there.
Yeah.
Say it's not cushy.
Well,
So
clearly, if they're like, you don't read Mandarin, here's your script in Mandarin, like clearly.
yeah, it's very different. And I'm very used to working under fire, like just used to, working as tough as nails.
Yeah.
So here and doing this production, everybody was so kind and sweet and professional. And, I was like, I could get cookies if I wanted in between. I'm like, oh, that's really nice. I'm gonna see it later.
If you want to see a really interesting documentary, it's called American Factory, and it's all about this factory. I think it's windshields for cars, like glass for cars factory in like Ohio or someplace like that. Anyway, and it gets bought by this Chinese company, and so then the documentary follows this transition from American led to Chinese led, and how challenging it is. And then there's a whole section of the movie where the American managers go over to China and they see what the factories are like there, and it is very well done. It's entertaining but also informative, and it's good. It's done by President Obama's production company.
Oh wow, where could
it's on Netflix, I think. American
Okay.
Factory.
I'll check it out.
It's really, there's some parts, like in one part in China, there's this person, her whole job is to go through all these ice not ice, to go through all these that look like ice, all these glass pellets.
Yeah.
And I forget even what she's searching for, but she's like, just that's her whole job, is just sorting through glass pellets. And they're like, we could never get someone to do this in America.
Yeah, I know.
And anyway, it's very interesting, just the difference behind the workers, difference behind the cultures, differences behind the management style, everything. Governments, obviously. It's very informative. I think it won the Oscar, maybe. I can't
You're
remember.
right. I
But
think he's nominated for the Oscar because
yeah,
it
yeah,
feels very familiar. I think
yeah.
yes, I'm gonna definitely check it out. I'm very
It's
behind.
it's it's really good. But anyway, yeah. So were you aware of, like, did you even know kind of what these Hallmark movies were? Like, being there in Taiwan? Were you kind of aware of this whole genre?
I am aware of this. The thing is, when I got here, I actually auditioned for a lot of Hallmark during the whole
Uh-huh.
time I was over there, so I read a lot of the Hallmark scripts and through the years, and so I
Hmm.
always knew that the tone was very different, say, than like, a Netflix, thriller.
Right.
So in all the Hallmark characters I would have to create would be like love, like fighting for love and like
Hmm.
hope and being inspirational and and staying positive even in the low moments, to always remain positive, right? Like you don't go like so low like in an HBO series where you're just like, whoa.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
You're low and you feel it, but it's still, there's hope and you can
Yeah.
uplift. So I understood that, and I really love Hallmark scripts, I have to say, and I have to say that it really saved me. Like
Hmm.
said before, is like it saved me through the pandemic, because just like your spam moment, I've had plenty of those moments
Yeah.
where I don't know when I'm going to see anybody ever again. And I was going through scripts and auditioning and scripts and auditioning, and and there was a lot of dark characters too, that auditioned:
Hmm.
vampires, murderers, serial killers, whatever. But then every time I would be like, oh, like this isn't dark enough for me, right? Like I'm just darker and darker. But then I would get like a Hallmark script, and it was like love and fighting for love. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do this?
Hmm.
I'm in the bottom eating spam. Well, I didn't eat spam, but
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, that's why I think that rom-coms are important, because they're inherently hopeful. Like, we need
yes,
hope,
yes,
especially these days. We need
gosh,
hope.
totally. And that's when I realized how important Hallmark was. Before, I
Hmm.
didn't really appreciate it to that degree, because it was like, that's a genre, that's a genre, that's a genre. But I didn't really deeply appreciate its genre until I went through this moment during the pandemic alone. And when every time I saw the Hallmark script, and then I had to play this character where it was like, I just had to find love within myself and hope, it would actually lift me up a little,
Hmm.
lift me
Yeah.
up. And I would feel better. Like my energy
Hmm.
was higher just
Hmm.
by doing this audition for
Yeah.
Hallmark. And then I started being like, oh my gosh, it didn't even matter if I booked it. It was just like, this was lifting me. So it
Hmm.
was like little doses of joy
Yeah.
amongst with other auditions, which are also really amazing and tremendous, right? But for this time, for the pandemic time. And then I realized, you know what? People really do need this. Like, it doesn't matter,
Hmm.
it's Christmas and we're eating gingerbreads all the time. Like, this is so important. Like, how amazing is it to like live in that world every day?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I certainly need it, that's for sure. And so did you do like a self-tape for a winning team? Did like your agent say, "Hey, there's this role, you should check it out."
Actually, it was a really beautiful gift. I think they really fought for me to have this role, which I didn't
Uh-huh.
even know about. And when I saw the script, and they're like, hey, this is your for you. And I was like, what is
Yeah,
this?
that's so
And
exciting.
yeah, and I had done so many Hallmark auditions,
Hmm.
like really a lot. And I was like, yeah, they're probably never going to use me, but it's
Uh-huh.
fun to watch my tapes.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing to go from not not getting a role to number one on the call sheet, the leading lady. I mean, that's amazing.
I know. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just not ready for Hallmark. That's okay. I was like, it's saving my life, and that's all I care about. And then when they gave me the role, I was and my agent's like, you're number one. I was like, huh? What does that even mean? What you're talking about? I think you got the wrong client. And he sent me this, and I remember every character's name that I ever auditioned for. So you tell
Oh,
me, you know,
wow.
the character, you tell me what it's for. I'm going to tell you if I auditioned for it or not. So when he said the character, I was like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. He sent me the script, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best script ever for Hallmark. I cannot believe it. And I blew my mind. Like, I screamed at him into the phone. It was like, I think he went deaf for a moment. I cried, I laughed, and then I paused and I said, I think you got the wrong girl.
Wrong client. Got to stop. It's funny.
I did it.
Yeah.
I felt him too.
Well, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the movie? What's it's about?
Okay, so the trailer, I was actually just watching the trailer before I hopped on with you, so I was
Uh-huh.
a minute late because of that. But so I play Emily, and Emily is somebody who is a 3-time champion, gold champion medalist, who plays for World Cup
For
women's soccer.
soccer. Yeah.
Yes, which is so awesome, because women should represent. and and I lost my best friend, who also played with me in the national team. And after she passed away, I was in such deep grieving. I kind of turned everybody away. And so all I cared about was to win. And what was most important to me was scoring, winning, scoring, winning. But because of that kind of attitude, which was not, like teamwork, and it's not very collaborative, and I had bad attitude on the field, I get suspended.
Mm-hmm.
And I go back to my small town and go back to my family
Mm-hmm.
and my brother, who basically my nephew, niece, and my brother, who actually was married to my best friend. I shouldn't divulge too much, but anyway, so I nurture myself with my family and everything, and then I end up somehow getting into coaching, youth soccer.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Um,
sounds really fun. I always makes me kind of laugh because we just had this movie called Champions
oh yeah,
here. Yeah, which cute. I enjoyed it, but it just makes me laugh that it seems like the solution if a coach if a coach has anger issues, let's have them coach children.
that's, yeah,
Like Mighty Ducks and
that's so true.
the Hoosiers.
Goonies. Was Goonies like that? The Goons.
Goon. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, that is a hockey movie, I think.
It's also the same. You go and
Yeah.
come.
But
Anger issues do
had
that.
you ever played soccer before? Did you need to like get some tips?
So that's a really good question, because actually I did play soccer. I almost went professional. And that
Oh.
was young. I played around Asia, and I was a goalkeeper, and I was so good. I was so good. All I cared about was training and playing soccer, and I wanted to go pro. But then I ended up choosing acting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, well, I guess there goes my soccer career. So that's why when I saw the script, I was like, I told my agent, I was like, did you know that I play soccer? He's like, no, I did not know that. Pro, yo. And he was like, oh my gosh, what are the chances of that? Right.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
that time, there was also the World Cup was going on in Qatar. So it was just like really good timing. Everything was just like aligned.
Yeah.
But the difference was I was a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different kind of training. Like you're not running this
Right.
spread and like scoring, you're saving and jumping and leaping and running backwards. And obviously it's been a while or a minute. A lot of pandemic rando eating. So I was
Yeah.
like, good condition. So the moment I booked it, I was like, it's time to hit the ground. So I trained really hard. Like I was training a couple of hours a day, running a lot, right? So obviously I can't run a lot from the first day. So I had to like increase, and I was training my legs. I think it was like pushing like a lot of kilos to get my legs really strong, so that I can run and sprint and do all
Yeah.
the explosive moves just in case,
Mhm.
you know. And I was like, you don't really need to do that. And I was like, yeah, well, if I'm going to play with a real national team, I don't want to look lame.
Mhm.
So I probably will anyway.
That's great. I mean, hey, whatever excuse you need to like to push you to get in it, all of us, we need that push, you know, to
Oh
get
my God.
get in our cardio.
Yes, because like you're not going to go running every day on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Motivation is pretty low. But for this, I was like, no, because I have to feel like an athlete, right? So I have to train
Mhm.
like an athlete so that I can like just carry myself as an athlete without faking it. So then I was training a lot so that the script was really funny because it just kept saying all I did was training. That's literally what I was doing, training,
Mhm.
eating
Yeah.
healthy, eating
Yeah.
like carbs, you know, no sugar.
Well, this seems like a really dream role to have, just in the sense of like you get to wear sweats and and hoodies and like your hair in a ponytail. Like that seems like that would be nice.
That is that. I do like to dress up sometimes though. So I got to
Maybe we can get you in another role where you're like playing a movie star or something like that.
God, but like in Italy.
Yeah, in Italy. Yes.
So I'm a movie star, and then like something happened. I have
You
a
could
heartbreak. I go to Italy to like soothe my heartbreak, like eat, pray, love, you
it,
know?
it could be like a new take on Roman Holiday.
Oh my gosh,
The
so
movie star comes and then you meet like
oh,
the struggling reporter that's
oh my
secretly, yeah, I mean,
gosh, I love it so much. I have
I really, Hallmark, you should be listening to it.
hello.
Yeah. That would be great. But yeah, I when I was watching the trailer, I'm like, this seems like you could just wear your sweats, you could wear your comfy clothes. It's pretty
There
nice.
was, I had a lot of outfits on that. I mean, wardrobe, I have to say wardrobe is really incredible. I got to wear so many colorful, different sports clothes. I was like, wow, there's
Uh-huh.
purple, there's pink. Um, you know, I did actually end up running hard.
Yeah, I
It
bet.
was it was hard.
Well, and so you're working with Christopher Ploha in the movie. Would you say this is enemies to lovers? Like, do you start out hating each other and then like, okay, fun.
So when we meet each other at first, well, you know, it's competitive because
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing rando soccer on the field, and you know, I just all I care about is winning, and I knock him over and I break his leg, and that was our meet cute.
Oh, okay.
He hates me, and I take his team. Anyway, I shouldn't say too much so people can watch the movie. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't realize you broke his leg in the story.
I did.
That's funny.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Was working with all these teens for the teams, the teenagers. Was that fun?
Yes, I love working with teens. Actually, I really
Mm-hmm.
love young women. I love to work with them. They're so energized, especially Ava, who played my Ava is my niece, played by Nikki Garcia. She's incredible. It was so great to have that family bond.
Uh-huh.
And you know, because she's also in soccer and she's got the same number as me, you'll see in the jersey, because, you know, she wants to be just like me. I'm her role model. And it's just a really beautiful relationship that we have as well. And yeah, like I really enjoyed it. You know, I felt really close to, actually, we became really good friends afterwards, you
That's
know, and
cool. Yeah.
it lasted. You know, there's like some bonds, like you know, you're on set and you have it, but then when you're off set, it kind of just, you know, dwindles off.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then there's some that just like really are lasting. Like
Mm-hmm.
my family bond, you know, with Rogie, who played my brother, and Nikki. I feel like with them, those were my favorite moments of filming because our chemistry was so alive, and the family dynamic was so alive. And then also it was like, ethnically as well, right? We are on this track, of making the story, and it's just so beautiful.
Mhm,
And then it became real. Like we
mhm,
would joke and it would just become the scene,
mhm.
right? So there's a
Well,
lot of
that sounds good, because the thing with enemies to lovers, and I've said this many times on the podcast, is that you have to make the characters likable with everybody else in their life, and the two of them don't get along, because if you make them like just total jerks to everybody, then we don't want them to get together. We don't want our leading lady to end up with a jerk, but
right.
it's just somebody that she doesn't get along with at first, but they really are great people and everybody else loves
Yes, I
them.
totally agree with you on that, because also I could seem to be hateable as well,
Yeah,
someone who doesn't pass the ball, someone who only cares about winning,
yeah,
but my family made me soft. And
right, exactly. That sounds good. I'm excited.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very important. And it must have been fun to work with Christopher, because he's such a he even these movies, he really immerses himself in the roles and really takes it seriously, which I admire.
yes, it was really, he's a veteran, he's very
Hmm.
professional. Even when he held the crutches,
Yeah,
yes, we had some good moments.
yeah. It looked like it was pretty cold. You could see your breath in scenes in the trailer. It's like, oh,
Oh my gosh, you could see.
yeah.
Yeah, we try to hide it, with my very thin sports clothes. But it snowed. It dumped snow, I think, on the third day. And
Hmm.
it was like thick snow. I think actually I don't remember the exact day, but I know that in Canada, in BC, it was so much snow that a lot of people couldn't even drive home.
Hmm.
And
Was it
people,
in like November or
yes, it was
yeah,
November.
November,
Yeah,
November.
it was
If you're
a
like Canada, this is not a Christmas movie. We don't need
yeah,
snow.
and we try to oh, it's summer, it's summer. But then in the end, it just dumped snow again. And then we're like, let's just go with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're excited about the movie. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we have some get to know you questions we like to end the interview off with. So first question, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Oh my gosh, you know how to hit hard. Oh, yeah, so hard. Gosh, like dark chocolate with a little
Oh,
caramel.
okay. Well, that would work to your Italy movie. You can
Oh my
have
gosh,
like
gelato.
yeah,
I would have
chocolate. Yes, we got it all planned. Okay, what is your favorite color?
pink, magenta.
Okay, good. What music are you into right now?
Music that helps me work out even harder.
You like those high beat per minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's nice on Spotify. You can actually like there's whole playlists just for specific beats per minute.
exactly.
And so you can make sure that every song is like super intense.
I literally just discovered it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So cool.
Yeah, because for one of my other jobs, I do a corporate blog for a company that makes like it's called Zims, which is like it's kind of like Bengay, like muscle when your muscles are sore, you put on. Anyway, I do this blog, and so I'm always trying to think of new like fitness things I can write. So I just did one on beats per
Oh
minute.
my gosh, that's so fun.
Anyway, okay. So what is your go-to date night food?
Date night food?
Yeah,
Ooh, gosh, this is a hard one. Can I name a couple?
sure. Yeah.
So Thai food you never go wrong. Uh,
Mm, yeah.
Sushi, but it has to be really fresh fish, and
Yeah.
miso black cod.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
You can
Because
always say,
sushi is nice because it's so dainty, so you don't like have to worry about spilling or anything embarrassing happening.
wow, maybe I should worry about stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Well, that's the hard thing about pasta. It's like, how do you eat that daintily?
Pasta is definitely not a good date food for me. Like, because then you get bloated after with all that, and then you get
Oh,
tired,
yeah.
and you're like, oh, I'm tired now.
You don't want like a sandwich. That's just too messy. So, I think about these things.
You're so
Huh.
funny. I never-
Okay. So, what is your go-to date night activity if you're going out and doing something?
Ooh, okay. But it depends on like, is it first date? Is it the fifth date?
This is true.
Right? Like, are you already dating? So is this a first date?
Yes, let's go with there.
Okay, sure. A first date would be, gosh, well, karaoke, I will say yes.
What's your go-to song? What your go-to karaoke song?
Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Whoa,
Love it.
that's a
Yeah,
big song.
it's so good. Easy go, easy go.
My go-to karaoke song is Wide Open Spaces, the from the I guess the Chicks now, but whatever, the Dixie
Oh my gosh,
Chicks.
I'm gonna look that up.
The
Okay.
well, it's a good song because it has basically like a very small range. So it doesn't go very high, it doesn't go very low, it's just like boom right there in the pocket.
Good
And
time.
so it's one I'm confident I can nail it.
Chorus.
Because I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm definitely not confident I can nail that. That's for sure.
It's like a good expression, express your energy song.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you sing the chorus of Wide Open
Yeah,
Spaces?
it's, um, gosh, uh, who doesn't know what she's talking about? Who never left home? Who never strung out to
Oh,
find a place of her own? A thing in the sky, a foundation of stone. She needs wide open spaces, room to make her big mistakes. She needs new places. She knows the high stakes. Yeah. So there we go. All right. So which do you like better, dogs or cats?
mm, dogs? Big
Mm-hmm.
dog. Big dog.
Okay. Ooh, big dogs.
Like a
Very
German.
good. Oh, okay. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Oh, that's hard. I love both. Oh my gosh, that's really hard. Oh, depends on my mood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depends on my
Wow.
I feel more solitary, I need some deep thought and reflection, mountains. If I want to like expand and kick it on, it would be the
Yeah.
beach.
Well, I guess that's good if you live in Canada because you're close to poles. So in
Right.
Vancouver. Uh, all right. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Chinese New Year.
Oh, nice.
Those are the best because they last for like 14 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And lots of good food.
Yes, you get pocket money, you get good food, you play mahjong,
Mm-hmm.
you get to sing, you get to dance. It's like great celebration,
Yeah.
lights, best.
All right. Last question. What's your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
A winning team.
Yeah. There we go.
Plug it in. I gotta plug it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
A romantic movie.
Yeah.
Other than a winning team, romantic movie. Wow, Eternal Sunshine on a Spotless Mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You like a little bit of meta kind of going on in there. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Well, you did it. You answered all the questions.
Woo!
It's a very fun interview. Thank you so much. And
Thank you so
do you have social media or anything like that you want to share?
Sure. I can be found on anything at Nadia Hatta. So it's just my name, and if it has like a blue tick, that's me.
Great. Great.
I'm trying to do better in my social media, by the way.
I'd like to thank Nadia for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed this interview. So I hope you all did too. Let us know what you think about all the different things that we talked about in the comments or on Twitter. Love to hear your thoughts. And please follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store. So please take a look at that. And we really, really appreciate it. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.